So a lot of jobs we work in every day, 9 to 5, right? We go and we get monthly numbers, right? You get a quarterly report or a monthly report on what you did, what you successful at, what do you need to work on. You need to do that for your business. Same thing for me. So the way I can make sure that I'm not overextending myself or stress myself is get the numbers so I can know how to scale my business. I have a coach that's a full-time coach that also assists me, that also is that skilled with resume reviews, just like I am. And that requires like work and coaching, making sure that they're updated. I have a part-time social media manager and making sure I can scale the business even more.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets Podcast. I'm Pedro, and today's guest is Anthony Harris, founder and CEO of Legacy Careers, a workforce strategist helping organizations and professionals navigate career transitions with clarity and precision. After more than a decade leading operations and process improvement in manufacturing, he launched Legacy Careers to bring human-centered, results-driven solutions to layoffs, career growth, and talent transitions. His work spans outplacement services, career coaching, and modern job search systems that serve both companies and individuals. With a focus on strategy over guesswork, he helps people land faster, transition better, and move forward with confidence at every stage of the career life cycle. Hey, welcome to the show, Anthony.
Thank you so much for having me today, Pedro.
I'm excited that you're here. Okay, and before we get into what you do now, I'm curious how this all actually started, right? So, what was going on in your life when coaching became more than just an idea?
Thank you so much for the question. About 2.5 years ago, honestly, my family started a quarterly check-in session with each other. So what we wanted to do is bring together our resources of anybody who has a special talent in my family or anybody who has something to bring in which we can offer and kind of bring resources in together. So what they had me do, I was one of the first presenters for my family, and I was like, what does everybody need help with? And everybody was like, I need help with jobs and resumes and stuff like that. So I said, okay, I'll put together a presentation. And so what I end up putting together was about the ATS system and how they are like knocking out resumes if you have all this, your format is off, and how your resumes are looking, and how a lot of companies are adopting that, and they're adopting a lot of basically AI, even interviews for their first rounds and things like that. And so I gave a presentation simply to my family, and everybody at the end of it, they're like, that is amazing information. We did not know about any of this. Honestly, you can almost package that into a course. And that actually is what lit the light bulb in my head of like, I've been interviewing, training people at my corporate job for the last 12 years. Why am I not assisting even other people outside of my job? Because I've also been a hiring executive. I've been on the other side and seen how the decision makers make these decisions. So why am I not helping other people? Because that's truly my passion, to help people get into their dream roles. So that's actually what launched the fire in me to even start my actual business, our career consulting business. And it's honestly been the most rewarding thing ever in just starting this business.
Wow, I need to ramp up my family gatherings, man. I mean,
You.
I never heard something like this.
Just once a quarter, we do it, and it's been the best thing ever because everybody has a specialty in something. So whether that is in cooking or anything, everybody has something that they're great in, and just offering that resource to the family of like how we can pull in these resources together. That has been honestly the best thing for my family.
Wow, that is so true. I mean, sometimes we have family members that we kind of know what they do, but we never dive into it. And it's so obvious, but at the same time, nobody does it, right? So that is so cool, man. I'm stealing that. If you allow me, I'm bringing that up Okay.
Go ahead and take it. You just can't take my family. It's the Southern family, so you just can't take that name. But other than that, you can have that.
That's awesome. And at what point did it stop feeling like a side thing or a calling and start feeling like an actual business you were responsible for?
Oh, great question. Honestly, it's two phases. First phase was when my website finally launched. I feel like as a business owner, if a lot of entrepreneurs know, just getting the website up is a feat in itself, especially in terms of getting a professional website, not something that's just like a quick buy, something that you can kind of AI generate overnight. If you create a full-fledged landing website, you know how much effort that goes into that. That was the first phase. And the second phase that made me realize it was a business is when I got my first business contract with the Marines Women Offshore program. And when I got that contract, that starts actually January of this year, so it starts actually this month. That actually makes me realize I'm not just an individual one-on-one coaching. I am a business. I'm a part of a business, and I'm growing a business that is helping many people out there, and not just myself or just my even my family members. So that honestly is giving me motivation to expand my business tremendously this year, and I'm so excited to do that.
I love how you brought up the logistics, right? Because when we're in talking about the coaching space, we're talking about impact, we're talking about a transformational change. But for all of that to happen, we need the background running, right? We need a website, we need all the tools that are properly needed to sustain a business. So I love that you mentioned that. Okay.
Yes.
And once you were out there helping people, right? Who did you naturally end up attracting? When did you realize, okay, yeah, these are the people I work best with?
Oh, great question. So this is where I had to figure out who my target audience was because I want to help people, but who are the people? So I really dwindled it down to really two big sectors. So it's recent college graduates. That's my first big sector of who I want to help, and then mid-career professionals who feel stuck in their career. So once I found my target two audiences of kind of who I want to market my business for, that's when I went to social media in terms of making a business TikTok page, making a business YouTube page, targeting videos to feel like they're helping the professionals who I want to help, and also targeting their mindset. A lot of recent college graduates are Gen Zers. Like they're not going to look at a 10-minute video, right? They want 30 seconds. How can you help me? What are the tips and tricks I need to know going into to do a resume or an interview? What things I need to know about the market? I don't have much experience. How do I translate that to the actual hiring manager if I've only done internships or I've only been in colleges and done these certain courses? So showing people how to make impact even with a little experience, and even the mid-career professionals, showing them how their previous experience don't dictate your next job. What you have done in your previous job has given you the skill sets, and you need to showcase how those skill sets can translate into a new career. Because some people get very stagnant to think, oh, I've only worked in customer service, I can't go anywhere beyond that. It's like, no, you learn skills in customer service. What are you great at, and how can we translate those skills to another industry? Because we can take customer service and go into technology. We can take customer service and go into finance. It depends on what's your path and what's motivates you in order to show you how you can get there. So I think helping people get beyond that, finding my target audience and showing them how they can translate those skills have been a rewarding experience for me for sure.
Mm. Yeah, and sometimes they're not even aware of it, right? Like they're so deep
Yes.
in the hamster wheel, they're just pushing. They're not like thinking about a skill set. They're just clocking in, clocking out. And I've had people I was talking with, and they're like, "Oh man, you're amazing at it, at this. You know so much." And they're like, "Really?" That type of thing
Right.
that they don't even get it, how good they are. So I like that. Having that awareness and
Yes.
being able to uncover that. So yeah, that's awesome. So let's zoom out for a second, right? If someone ends up working with you today,
Yes.
how do they usually find their way to you in the first place?
Oh, great question. So first, they either find me through legacycareersllc.com or they find me through social media. What I've learned in starting a business, nobody really knows you. So your marketing has to be A1 slice. So I've even hired a part-time marketing manager that actually helps me create new posting and making sure that we're updating our LinkedIn, our YouTube pages, our TikTok page every day with content, making sure I'm making videos because as when you're your own entrepreneur and own business person, people want to see you and they want to see you and how you actually connect to them and how that they will feel different. So people find me through social media, through LinkedIn, through my website itself, and also even paying for optimization and marketing for your website to get viewed on Google, on other searches. When people look up a resume, they want to basically say, I need a new resume. You need to make sure that your website is actually populating in those searches, right? So you need to do
Mm-hmm.
great research on how to market your business because when you come out and even if you know that you're the best person, not everybody knows that. And you also need to showcase the after effects. So making sure I'm getting client reviews, I'm getting referrals, I'm building that database from previous clients and also capturing clients. So what I even do now in my current business model, I offer free resume reviews. I give people as a hiring executive for the last 12 going on 13 years now, I give them free resume reviews. I give them feedback. I give you a 2-minute feedback on your resume, what's working, what may not be working. And if you choose to further work with us and help let us help craft your resume that actually can get you hired, then they can get those services. But also knowing that you have to get clients and make them feel comfortable that you're knowledgeable and you're somebody that can help and fix and assist them with everything that they're needing and their biggest pain points right now.
Mm, okay. Now let's talk about the mechanics behind the scenes for a moment. Let's say
Yeah.
they visited your website, right?
Yes.
They watched your videos. So when someone decides to work with you, what
Yes.
does that actually looks like from their perspective?
Oh, great question. So, a couple things I've enabled on my website. I have an AI chatbot enabled on my website. One to answer any kind of questions that they may have. The great thing about the AI chatbot, if you add that to your website, it only takes data that's already on your website. So it's not extrapolating anything from online or any other information. It's only data sets that you have put onto your website. So if they have any questions, they're getting every question answered, like what's all included. How much is the turnaround? Is it the standard turnaround is 3 to 5 days for your resume, but you do have expedited options, right? Making sure the clients are very clear on what they will get if they purchase any of the services and what all is included. The second thing I've kind of done behind the scenes is automate a lot of the onboarding because when you're scaling a business, if you do not automate things, it makes it more stagnant for you and make it a more manual process. So it's hard for you to scale a business if things are not automated. So I've had to automate the onboarding process. My clients get an intake form. What is the intake form? It lets them upload their current resume, lets me know what salary ranges that they're looking for, what type of jobs are they looking for, are they looking to still stay in the same industry, are they where do they feel like their biggest pain point is it just your
Mhm.
resume, is it interview skills, is it closing on your salary negotiation skills? How can I best assist you to make sure that you not only get the job but you get the salary that you're looking for? So I make sure I include all of that even in my onboarding process so my clients, they know what kind of mindset I'm going into it with, and I need them to know what kind of skill set I'm going to bring behind it to make sure that they get everything that they've paid for and more
Mm.
out of everything I give them.
Mm. Right. I mean, your work seems pretty involved, right? We're talking about even if you're, and it sounds like you're trying to avoid having you as the bottleneck because you're talking about automations, you're talking about other
Yes,
ways to be super efficient. But even when we're creating automation, that it also goes back to you, right? You need to create them.
yes.
You need to send the review on the 2-minute video, even if it's a 2-minute video. But what I want to understand is how do you think about managing your time and energy so the business doesn't start owning you, for example?
Great question. And so that is, you're also talking to somebody who works a corporate 9 to 5 job and runs my
Mm,
business and wants to scale my business to $1 million business, right? So what that does, or what the biggest thing is I take away from that is figuring out your numbers and your KPIs, and that helps you scale your business. So a lot of jobs we work in every day, 9 to 5, right? We go and we get monthly numbers, right? You get a quarterly report or a monthly report on what you did, what you successful at, what do you need to work on? You need to do that for your business. Same thing for me. So the way I can make sure that I'm not overextending myself or stress myself is get the numbers so I can know how to scale my business. I have a coach that's a full-time coach that also assists me, that also is that skilled with resume reviews, just like I am. And that requires like work and coaching, making sure that they're updated. I have a part-time social media manager and making sure I can scale the business even more. Like I also have flex employees, what I call flex employees, employees that work with the company or are not full-timers. So if I need them, if the business scales to a level that I need more assistance, I can get my flex employees to come in and assist on certain tasks that are needed. So I think just keeping a wide-eyed, open vision on your numbers for your business and making sure just because you work a 9 to 5 doesn't mean when you start your own business that those KPIs and things disappear. It's just making sure that you figure out a meaningful way to use them so you're staying on top of your business, because what you can lead to, especially if you're somebody who, like me, works a full-time job and does my own business, you can lead to burnout, and that's for yourself. And you're not going to be any good for your clients if you're tapped out, if you're stressed out, or you're not taking care of your full self too. So what I would just say to any entrepreneur, know your numbers backwards and forwards, and also know your competition. If you know that, then you kind of also know how to scale your business itself and making sure that you're keeping an eye on the market, because if the market gets ahead of you and you're still 2 years behind, you will never catch up or kind of get your business to where you kind of want it to be.
Interesting. Pricing and offers are things every coach evolves on, since we're talking about the business side, right?
Yes.
For example, sometimes we see, especially in the service-based industry, a self-worth path, right? Like, should I charge this? Am I charging enough? Am I charging too much? So we're not talking about hard numbers here, but I would like to understand from your perspective, like, how do you approach that now? And what did you have to learn? Did you had to learn in the hard way to get where you are right now?
I'm glad you asked that question, because it is the most mind-boggling thing when you first get into this business, because you start looking at everybody else's prices and you start looking at your competition. You're like, I don't know if I can charge that much. They're charging like $500 for your executive resume and this. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I have the proof of concept in order enough to charge that and things like that. So what I realized is it doesn't matter even if you offer a service for free. If people do not believe in the value that you're going to give, then you won't get the clientele you want, if that makes sense. Even if you offer it for free. If I offered a free resume, but nobody believes that the resume that I will provide for them is beneficial, or the interview skills that I can help enable into them will be beneficial, or the salary negotiation skills I can kind of give them a background and information on is helpful, they won't even take your free service versus even a paid service. So you really do have to, when you first start off, I also did a few free resumes for my family members, right? Making sure I had proof of concept, making sure that, did you get a job? How much was the salary? Did you increase in salary? Getting to know that I'm going to, and then making them give reviews. Like, give me honest reviews. Did I actually help you in doing this? And it makes me know my market value. If I've been able to assist people and they've gone from no job to a $60,000 job overnight in 2 weeks of me doing their resume, because now they're finally starting to get callbacks from no callbacks, then I know, oh, I do have proof of concept here. That's one thing. Then the second thing is I need to know where my competition is. And I'm not saying I have to be all the way below them or all the way ahead of them too, but I have to figure out what the right pricing is to where I'm getting and watch my numbers too, right? That goes back to revenue. If I'm increasing just because I increase the sales, but if my revenue goes down, then that wasn't a smart business decision, right? But if I right fit it, what I call right fitting is making sure that you have the clientele that you want, right? If my clientele is recent college graduates, right, and mid-career professionals, I'm not going to be charging $500 a resume, because that's not the level or access to money that the recent college graduates have, right? So even thinking about that in terms of the services you offer, think about who your clientele is. If your clientele is simply business executives or C-suite members, then maybe offering a $100 resume service is not in the right price point for that, right? But if it's a recent college graduate, maybe that's the perfect price point. But making sure you know who your target audience is, kind of the clientele that you want into your business, and making sure you have proof of concept, because I can tell you, I've seen a lot of my competition, and you also have to look at the things that they offer within it, right? Because I've seen my competitors offer, you get unlimited edits for 30 days. You get, if you do not receive an interview in 2 months, then we do a free resume rewrite for you, things like that. So making sure you realize what's all included in their pricing as well, to making sure that you also are matching based on the value that you're providing in your services, and making sure whatever additional extras that you offer within it makes sense for the client and for you as a business itself, and making sure that you're not putting out more work than what you're receiving back from it.
Yeah, I think we have two key words. First is commitment, where we talk about pricing, and the other is value, right? I always remember this meme about an old fridge on the sidewalk, take it if you want it, and nobody takes it. The next day you put in a price tag of $50 and it
Yes.
disappears, right?
There
So
you
it's that
go.
perception of
It's
value,
a
right?
perception, right? Because everybody
Yeah.
thinks something free is something wrong with it, right? Same
Yeah,
thing.
it's worth it. Why is he not charging? If this is good, why is he not charging for it? Yeah, I got that 100%. And since you kind of browsed this topic that I'm going to right now, but looking forward a bit, I mean, what's the direction you're aiming this business towards, right? Are you thinking more about growth, leverage, building a team, or refining what already works? What feels most exciting right now for you?
Oh, great question. So growth and scaling my business are the two most exciting things for it. So what I realized in this last year is I don't just have to do B2C clients. I think I thought in the beginning of starting this business, I was only going to help individuals get their dream jobs and I will move on. And that was hard to scale individually at first, because in terms of like consistency and numbers, sometimes it's not hiring season. Like nobody's looking to do things in December or things like that. So also realizing how to leverage other things. So I started doing this last like 6 months ago. Started looking for B2B clients and making sure I have a marketing phase for that. Making sure, because a lot of companies, when they let go of individuals or departments, every company doesn't have the funds available to give them basically what I call like a package deal, that when they offset you or outplace you, that they're giving you a nice severance package or things like that. A lot of companies don't have that. There may be small to mid-sized companies or even some larger companies that do not have those type of severance packages available to all employees. So even offering my services to those businesses, hey, if you offset people, let's protect your brand, because when you just let go of a department without giving them severances or things like that, that reflects poorly on your brand. They're going to give you negative reviews on Glassdoor, right? They're not going to refer people. It's going to be hard for you to replace those employees if you do have to rehire in the next few months too, because you're going to have negative Glassdoor reviews. You're going to have negative reviews onto your business. So if we figure out a ways to make sure that, because I tell this is how I tell it to HR professionals, you are the first person and the last person people see when they walk through that door. So when they leave that company, if they feel that they were supported and that you gave them a good off-ramp in terms of assistance to help them get a new resume, help somebody to help them get a new job, and a business that can model that actually helps them make sure they don't have to take too much time off from being let go from this job to a new job, then they will still positively feed back into your business. Like, I know they had to make a hard business decision, but I feel so great about working for them because they made sure I got to a new job within 2 months from them even letting me go, which I didn't have to even take too much time in between paychecks and making sure I got a new job. So I have made sure I'm marketing my business now even to those businesses and doing B2B clients, getting those contracts, because that helps scales my business and making sure that we have consistent contracts, right? Getting consistent revenue flows into the business and making sure we're able to scale the business. And then I can even in the next few months, I'm looking to get a salesperson into the business, right? Somebody who can make sure they close the deals besides it just being my face all the time, right? So making sure that we're able to scale this business into $1 million and multi-million-dollar business, and making sure I know in myself that doesn't just have to be B2C clients. And I love doing B2C clients and I love making sure I help people get jobs, but that's also on the business side of it, making sure I help corporations offset the people that they're losing, and making sure that they also protect their brand itself, and making sure that they're helping their previous employees feel like they had a parachute on their landing when they had to get offset from the company.
Oh, interesting. It's like damage control. I like that. It's like you're gonna have a layoff eventually. That's gonna happen. You can. It
Yes.
is what it is. It happens, and sometimes it's nobody's fault. Sometimes we're
Correct.
talking about circumstances, industry shifts. So yeah, I get it. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
And sometimes that will put them on a place where they might even reconsider the layoff because you're giving them brand awareness. Like, hey, did you know X, Y, and Z could happen and could, prevent you from replacing this person? Are you sure you want to do this? It goes back to real coaching, right? To root causes. That's what this is
Yes.
all about, to
Yeah.
understand what's happening behind the curtain. Yeah, that's cool. I never thought it that way. That's awesome.
Yes.
So, even when things are going well, Anthony, there's always something under construction. What's the main thing you're actively working on or trying to improve in the business right now?
Great question. So, one, I already talked about the automation, right? Of kind of where I want the business to in terms of the onboarding process and making sure. One thing I'm kind of working on now is additional resources for my clients in between sessions. So, when I do career coaching, right, I've just helped a client recently land a job at Deloitte. So, right, he had to do 4 rounds of interviews. So he had 4 different coaching sessions we've had to prep him for the interview. We did his resume, LinkedIn profile. But what I want to now enable is make sure I have an ecosystem that my clients feel supported even in between those career consulting sessions, whether that's offering free additional resources, making sure I make maybe a Facebook page where they can just talk to other people who are in the same kind of predicament that they are, or looking for whatever kind of resources I need for my clients in terms of things in between my coaching sessions. I kind of want to make more of an ecosystem around it. So that's what I'm trying to focus on as well, making sure that they feel supported even in between those sessions. Like, yes, they were able to get a job. Yes, they were able to move up to a 6-figure salary, which is amazing. But I also want to make sure that they feel supported and making sure that they have every resource they need in between, whether that's salary negotiation cheat sheets or things like that. They can just use without having to feel like they have to book a coaching session necessarily, or use one of their sessions for some smaller things, or just asking questions in between sessions. So I want to make sure I work on that this year and making sure I build an ecosystem, even when clients book with me, making sure that they feel supported. That's why I tell even other entrepreneurs, once you get your client list, protect it, and making sure that you're offering your other resources and things like that to your clients, even in between trying to sell them something, right? Whether that's a monthly newsletter just with market information, what's going on in the market, who's hiring right now, is it tech, or is it sales, or is it customer service, or is it healthcare, or little things like that. Like I said, nuances that clients need to know, kind of market information or free resources that they can have and use to their advantage in between client sessions. So I'm working on scaling that part of the business as well, because I want my clients to feel supported, not only from when they purchase a service, but even when they're not purchasing with me. I want them to feel supported in between and after they use my services. So that's kind of what I'm working on, building an ecosystem around just full support, whether it's a paid service or not a paid service, just to make sure that they feel supported in the entire job market.
Yeah, that's pretty cool because if you see it, the career as a journey, it's a long one, right?
Yes.
And for example, what should I do if I got an offer? People don't know how to navigate that. For example, should they use it as leverage? Should they? And sometimes they bluff, and they don't have one. They ended up firing themselves, So that stuff
Right.
kind of really happens, right?
Other things that you can negotiate besides salary, a lot of people don't realize there's other things. You can vacation time off, PTO. It's also sign-on bonuses that you can ask for. Maybe a position title change you can negotiate in that. It's a lot of other things people need to think outside of even the scope of salary, but the full package itself that you need to make sure that you're thinking about in your offering. A lot of people, I can tell you, when I took my first job out of college, I took the offer, but I can tell you I regretted that for years because I didn't negotiate into it. I didn't think about the full benefit package. I didn't think about I just thought about the number, and I didn't want to be without a job, right? So making sure that they don't make any hasty decisions or making sure they feel confident when they do say yes to positions and things like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. And there's so much potential I can see because it is what you said. It's an ecosystem, right? Okay.
Yes.
You know, Anthony, I want to do something a little lighter for a moment. I got a quick rapid fire game if you're up for it.
Awesome. I'm up for it.
Okay. Think about investments you've made into the business, coaching programs, hires, tools, marketing, any of it. Okay. I'll
Yes.
throw out a prompt and you answer with whatever comes to mind first.
Okay.
Stories are welcome. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. What was the very first investment you ever made into your business?
My website. Yes, which was a pretty penny. Let's just say I had to make my own self investment, and it was the biggest investment I made into myself and my business.
That's cool. That's actually a leap of faith, and it looks like you're a legitimate business, right?
Yes.
The feeling you have like that. Okay.
Yes.
Next one. What's the most recent investment you've put money into?
Marketing. So marketing for sure, in terms of making sure I do. It's just not about virality either. It's making sure that I'm marketing and giving substance behind what I'm doing and making sure I'm giving the stories. I'm also about to start a new series actually behind the coaching, a little bit of a series of like what actually goes into career coaching, right? A lot of people don't realize or like what information I'm giving to clients. I want to kind of create a YouTube series and a TikTok series surrounding that. So, but that's also going to be also a part of my marketing budget. So also I could tell you the biggest part of getting a new business out there is marketing for sure.
Okay. And looking back, what investment paid off the most and why?
The investment that paid off the most really was into my website, just because it gave me the infrastructure. Because I've changed it. The funniest thing is, I paid for a service for my website, and I ended up changing it completely 6 months later. That fit more into my business and got more clients. But my website, just the infrastructure of the actual website itself, helped me because then it let me do different things off streets of it, like adding the AI chatbot, adding pop-ups, getting my free resume review services pop up in there to get client email intake. So honestly, the investment of the website was the biggest thing that paid off because it helped give me not only brand identity, but it also helped me lure in clients just based off of how a website runs itself.
Okay. Nice. And what's one investment you'd think twice about if you could rewind?
Oh, okay. This is a great question. I think making sure that I had a marketing manager before I started investing into marketing. What I was doing at first was literally just any YouTube video or TikTok video that I thought was great. We just invest an insurmountable amount of money into it, thinking that, oh, this is going to get 10,000 views and it's going to get engagement and it's going to get so many clients off of it. And no, it's not knowing my strengths and weaknesses, and knowing marketing was not one. So me getting a marketing manager to help me know when real-time investment is needed and when it's not, and what platforms to use, whether it's LinkedIn or TikTok or YouTube or things like that. That kind of was needed within my business. But I can tell you, I spent a crazy amount on marketing at first that was not going anywhere. Return on revenue was not there.
No, that's good that you're being so authentic about it and upfront about it. You know, I really like that. You know, and hearing those, side by side, how has your mindset around investing in the business changed over time, if it has?
Yeah, it has, because I think when you're first running and doing your business, starting a business, you don't know if it's going to be paid off, right? You think that all of these investments are going nowhere, or you think that I'm not getting the return immediately of what I needed to. And so it wasn't until probably 6 to 8 months after doing all of these investments where you're like, okay, when is it going to get come back to you? But you have to have full confidence in self and proof of concept into your business, and knowing that every investment is going to come tenfold back as long as you put that intention out there and as long as you're being authentic and making sure that you give your clients a great product. Because I have so many clients that refer so many other people that I would never even thought of. Or I got even business referrals from other business clients that I never thought of, just because of the confidence I've done into my service and the proof of concept I've given and giving them quality products and getting people actual jobs, right? So that word of mouth, I feel like, is insurmountable, even on the business side, that I never even thought of, to be honest.
That's cool. I mean, you've been in long enough to see trends come and go, right? People give
Yes.
business advice nonstop, especially online. And I like to use my example as a personal showcase. It's like I'm scrolling. I think that was last Sunday, and I'm like, AI is dead. And the next post is AI is going to take her job. Okay. So which one, guys? You know,
Right.
let's give it a break. Okay. So, what's something you hear repeated a lot that you think people misunderstand or overvalue?
I think everybody overvalues the little quick tips that they get a lot from online, especially from a lot of these recruiters or different things like that. They overvalue, I think, everything people say and undervalue their self worth and kind of the work that they put into. So what I mean by that is a lot of times I hear people that say, "Oh, well, I talked to a recruiter and they said, my 3-page resume was okay," or they basically, I've seen some resumes where they've worked with some resume writers and they've basically put it in paragraph form for 3 pages of their resume and things like that. And I'm like, you're overvaluing that and you're basically lessening yourself and you're not going to get an interview because you need to have confidence in yourself to know that you've already done everything you need to do to get to your dream job, to be honest, or you maybe have the steps at least to get there, right? You just need to know that you may just need a little bit of tweaking. You may not have to throw away the full thing, and making sure that you're not listening to every piece of advice, but be discerning in the advice you get. Because some advice it may be transformational, right? Somebody can tell you, hey, you can do a 2-page resume, and if you add these few elements, that's going to transform how you get interviews, right? And it can actually do that. But if you go into every little detail of what somebody says without having confidence of saying yes to some things and no to some things, then you're going to be showcasing their dream of what you are versus your dream of what you know you can be. If that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, over explaining is actually a signal of lack of confidence. You nailed
Yes.
it. And sometimes I'm also career coach, so sometimes I talk with HR people, and they're like, they hate when someone start with a timeline, right? So when I met my mom, and I'm like, and they're like, oh my God, here we go, a 20
Right.
minute ride of everything that ran down their own career path. No, it's not about that. It's the relevance to the interview, right? Is what
Yes.
important the most. Okay, I get it. Okay,
Yes.
and on the flip side, like, what's something boring or not as hyped that you wish more people actually paid attention to?
Um, I want people to pay more attention to detail on the nuances of their resumes and their interviews. What I mean by that is a lot of people in their resumes, I'm seeing even small misspellings, or they think that the one thing I kind of want to give everybody out here right now on your resume, it's supposed to sell you. I want you to take out your resume, look at it for 10 seconds, and then flip it over. Tell me what job you're targeting and tell me your top 2 skill sets that you're offering to that job. And if you can't answer that question within those 10 seconds, then your resume is not working for you. Okay. So what my clients, I like to tell them is at the top of the resume, even let's say I'm going for a project manager role. At the top of your resume, if it says project management specialist and then it has a divider and it says handled $100 million plus in projects, right under your name, you're instantly selling yourself within half a second of a hiring manager opening your resume. And a lot of people try to make the resume do more work than it needs to. Which what I mean by that is you want the hiring manager to read every bullet point in your resume to know your value, and you need to make it what I call skimmable. That makes sure it shows your value immediately when they should know that within 10 seconds. It has to be skimmable, and that's kind of how I've made my resumes for all my clients. I make it skimmable. You know your impact within 10 seconds of viewing it. Because if you don't realize that hiring managers are getting batches of resumes at a time, not one at a time, then you will know that it needs to have impact
Mm.
immediately when you're reading through a batch of 25 of them. That makes sense. And also, I
Yeah.
say the same thing in your interviews. Make sure you know the nuances of the interview, making sure that you know what you want out of the interview because it is a co equal thing. It's not just the hiring manager has all the power. You have the power too. So a lot of people get into jobs where they feel like they're overworked and undervalued because they didn't ask the right questions at the end of the interview, right? How do you
Mhm.
if you are somebody who values promotions and making sure that you're scaling within a company, did you ask those relevant questions in an interview? Can you give me examples of how somebody has been promoted from this position? Can you give me examples of how other roles that somebody can take from this current role I'm moving into? Can you give me an example of how you've helped train somebody and how they have moved up within the company? Because if they have no examples of that, then they have nothing to show for it. Then you have now got yourself into a job that is not it doesn't have an end goal to it and make it's making it value less for you, so making
Mhm.
sure that you just think about nuances and think about what you truly want out of it. That goes for your resume and that goes for your interview too.
Yeah, that makes sense. And sometimes, uh, the one who's applying for the job, I always come back to this question. It's like, and I've did that for my clients as well. It's like, walk me through a day of a general manager of an X, Y, and
Yes,
Z, so you can have that feeling of what it looks like working there, right? It's not just
yes,
about stacking tasks, and because at the end of the day, you don't know if you're going to end up 6, 5 hours, or half an hour working on a KPI. They don't even care,
right.
so walk me through it. I think that's pretty neutral and pretty, to the
I can
point.
tell you from a hiring manager perspective, that's great advice because we've said no to people. They've had amazing interviews, but they if they never asked any information about the job itself, they became an automatic no after the interview. And I
Mm,
can tell you the reason why is because some people they showcase more desperation for a job than actual leadership and basically being able to handle a job because you don't even know if you didn't even ask anything about the role. What if we told you had to clean the toilets twice a day? You didn't even
mm,
ask any information about it. You're just willing to accept the job because you want a job. And it's not just about wanting a job, it's showing every company that you're the perfect fit for that role and that company. And
mm.
that's what sets you apart, not just wanting a job.
Awesome. So before we close this out, Anthony, if someone resonated with what you shared and wants to follow your work, where should they go?
Yes, they should go to legacycareersllc.com. That's my official website. That's also my official handle for all social medias, whether it's TikTok or YouTube or LinkedIn. You can go to Legacy Careers LLC, making sure that if you need any help or assistance out there, whether you're, like I said, a recent college graduate who needs that shining star of figuring out how to basically showcase your internships and showcase your experience into how to get your first job, or you're a mid-career professional who feels lost
Mm,
and you just feel like I'm ready to start a new job or a new career and I don't know how to translate these experiences I've done to something else, then make sure you go to legacycareersllc.com. Today, I would love to
mm,
help and assist everybody out there who's needed, even businesses that who need that assistance in offsetting teams or offloading teams to make sure
mm-hmm,
you also protect your company brand, right? And that is a big thing moving forward. A lot of people are making sure they do their research before they ever even. Some people won't even show up to an interview if they looked at the Glassdoor reviews and say, "Oh no."
mm-hmm.
It's a lot of negative reviews. They won't even show up to those interviews. So making sure you protect your company and the brand itself as well for companies.
Okay. There were a few moments from this conversation that really stood out to me. First, I would start with the family quarterly, right? The in session that started this all. Yeah, I'm just picturing myself when I met my wife and their family, and I'm like going there to some barbecue, and I'm coming home with my resume reviewed. This was unexpected. This,
I'm telling you,
right?
telling you.
Also, yeah, that's awesome. And also, how you mentioned and highlighted the fact that you need to showcase your skill sets, right? And that could pivot into a new career, a new path. And that's something that people don't think as much as they should. That's one thing that I also would love to highlight. I have to say something like when you mentioned that nobody really knows you on marketing, that brought me back to one of my clients, and he was like, yeah, I was kind of, because that was an in-person client. He was like, I was kind of unsure if I should reach out for you because there was one time I kind of tripped myself and hurt, and you were there, and blah blah blah, and the kids play, something like that. And I'm like, what's this guy talking about? I don't even remember what I had for breakfast. So it's like, it's not that nobody really knows you. People are so into their own stuff.
Yeah.
And that and they don't care, and I'm like, I don't even remember that, bro. And it's like, yeah, so I was like second guessing myself to approach you and talk with you. I'm like, dude, come on, so just get that out of your head. And I had to certain moments, I'm like, oh, so the entire world's gonna watch this and what they're gonna think about me, and they're not.
Everybody's going about their day. Same thing yourself, putting myself in videos. You know how long it took me to taping yourself to do promotion videos? It takes some time. It takes a loop on you because you think, oh my gosh, everybody's going to judge me. And it's like,
it's like you're an American Idol the next day when you put it out there. You're like, oh my God, everything changes now. It's not really like that. Take it easy, video, And the damage control idea, I really like that. I mean, that has so much potential to create that awareness in companies. I really like that. So, Anthony, I really appreciate you taking the time and being open with this. It was great having you on, man.
Thank you so much, Pedro, for having me. It was great being on the podcast today, and I hope everybody took something out of it too, for sure.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.